Liino might be one of the most interesting supports we've gotten in Arknights Endfield so far. She heals your entire team, gives them attack buffs, massively boosts electric and nature damage, gives damage reduction, and she can basically keep doing all of this while barely asking for any SP. So naturally, she's a must pull, right? Well, I'm not actually sure, because after looking at what Liino does and, more importantly, who she actually benefits, I think she's one of those characters where how good she is and how much you actually need her are two completely different questions. And that's what I want to talk about today. So before you pull Liino, let's talk about whether she's actually worth those Oroberyls for you. Let's get one thing out of the way first. Liino is really, and I mean really good. If we're talking purely about what she can do as a support, there's a lot to like here. Her basic skill only costs 25 SP and it puts her into vocalist stance. While she's in this stance, she constantly heals the team and gives everyone 10% attack, and this will last for 60 seconds. 60 seconds. So you're not constantly fighting her for uptime or worrying about maintaining some tiny 5-second buff window. You basically put Liino on the field, activate her skill, and she's just doing Liino things. Healing people, buffing people, and doing idle things. And apparently having one of the coolest double dashes in the game. Like, man, this Mecha Jetpack Dash might actually be my favorite double dash in Endfield right now. But her ultimate is where Liino goes from being a really good healer to a really good damage support. Her ultimate puts her into Cosmo Voice stance. You still keep that 10% attack buff from her vocalist stance, but now she also starts giving electric and nature amp based on her will. And realistically, we're looking at around 30 to 45% amp right now depending on your investment. For context, that's already an enormous damage increase.
That's a lot of damage!
And if you're running an electric or nature DPS, this is where Liino really starts to shine. Zhuang Fangyi is an obvious one, DPS Arcane is another. And if you're playing either one of these characters, I can absolutely see why Liino is looking like an instant pull. And she doesn't stop there. Her passive gives the team consistent healing and 20% damage reduction, and because her healing is so accessible and reliable, I'd say Liino is probably the best healer in the game right now. There's also her signature weapon, which is where things get more interesting depending on the team that you're using her with. If you're using Liino with an electric or nature team, her base kit already gives you that massive elemental amp, so you're already getting a huge part of her value. But if you're using her on a team that is not electric or nature, her signature becomes much more important. Her signature gives the entire team 22.4% attack, which stacks with the 10% attack from her stance, for a total of 32.4% universal attack buff. So while her elemental amp is restricted to electric and nature, her signature gives her a way to provide a much stronger universal buff. But here's where I think people need to be a little careful. Because being the best healer in the game doesn't necessarily mean you need the best healer in the game. Right now, Endfield doesn't really have content that demands a lot of healing. Most of the time, you don't need some ridiculous sustain machine keeping your team alive. A little bit of healing is already enough. So if you're pulling Liino just because she's the best healer, I don't know if that's a good enough reason. And there's another problem. Liino isn't the universal buffer I initially expected her to be. Yes, she gives 10% attack universally, but the really massive part of her kit, the 30 to 45% amp, is specifically for electric and nature teams. So if you're not actually playing those teams, a huge part of what you're paying for isn't doing much for you. And if you're already spending the Oroberyl to get Liino, then spending additional resources to guarantee her weapon is a completely different conversation. And if you're the type of person who has already decided that you're pulling Liino anyway, then this is probably a good time to talk about today's sponsor. This video is sponsored by LDShop. If you're looking to top up for Arknights Endfield, LDShop lets you do the top up yourself by binding your account and using your user ID and server, so you don't have to give someone your account credentials. And I'm actually going to show you how the process works right now. You can select Arknights Endfield, choose the package you want, and go through the checkout process. And once the purchase goes through, there it is. The currency has arrived in game. If you're a new user, you can also get a 50% off coupon plus an additional 5% off coupon through my link, and your first top-up bonus can also be used through LDShop. I'll leave my link in the description and pinned comment if you want to check it out. Anyway, back to the important question. Is Liino actually worth it for your account? If you're a Zhuang Fangyi player, then Liino looks amazing. Fangyi is already a monster, and giving her access to Liino's massive electric amp is exactly the kind of synergy you'd want from a premium support. I don't actually have Fangyi myself, so I can't show you what that combination looks like on my account, but from what Liino provides, this is clearly one of the teams she's designed to support. The other obvious one is DPS Arcane. I actually have Arcane, and Liino can give her a ridiculous amount of additional support. The problem is, I don't really play Arcane as my DPS. She's my support for my DPS Camille. Sorry, Arcane. If we're talking about my account specifically, Liino isn't actually an obvious must pull. Right now, one of the team I'm currently using is DPS Camille with Support Arcane. And Liino does actually fit here. If I got her signature, she gives Camille 32.4% attack through her universal buffs alone. And she also gives me the healing, damage reduction, and everything else she brings. So on paper, that's a really nice upgrade.
No.
But the massive electric and nature amp, Camille doesn't benefit from that. So I'm basically paying for one of the strongest parts of Liino's kit and not using it. And then there's one giant question mark. Horse guy. If this guy ends up being electric, then Liino becomes a lot more interesting for me. Because if he's electric, then I have a pretty obvious feature home for her. And aesthetically, I'm not gonna lie, he really does look like he could be electric. I'm just hoping he's not another character that forces you into a completely mono element team. Give me something like Rossi where I can actually build a team with at least 2 elements. But obviously, we don't know his actual kit yet, so I'm not pulling Liino based solely on that. So who should pull for Liino? Pull Liino if you play Zhuang Fangyi, you play DPS Arcane, you want to replace an existing 4-star support with a premium support. You specifically want her universal attack buffs and you can afford the signature. Or you just really like Liino. And honestly, I can't blame you. That double dash animation alone is dangerously good. Dangerous for my wallet. On the other hand, I don't think Liino is a priority if you don't play electric or nature teams and you don't really have a slot where her universal buffs are giving you a meaningful upgrade. And if you can't afford her signature, then you're missing out on her 32% universal attack buff. And finally, if you hate idol characters, well, she is, unfortunately, very much an idol. I don't know what to tell you. So, is Liino a must pull? For me, probably not. And that's not because she's bad. She's actually one of the strongest supports we've gotten. She's probably the best healer in the game right now. Her kit is incredibly easy to use. She has massive electric and nature amplification, she gives attack buffs, damage reduction, and consistent healing. She's ridiculously good. But I don't think really good character automatically means spend 60,000 Oroberyls on her. For my Camille team, she's more of an aesthetic and comfort upgrade than a massive account changing upgrade right now. If I had Zhuang Fangyi, or if I was heavily invested in electric or nature teams, my answer would probably be different. And if Horse Guy turns out to be electric, well, let's just say I'm probably going to regret making this video. But that's my take on Liino. She's one of the best supports in Endfield right now, but whether she's worth pulling depends way more on your account than her actual power level. If you already have a team that takes advantage of her electric or nature amp, I think she's an incredibly strong pickup. But if you don't, you can probably save your Oroberyl. Unless you really absolutely need her healing or you absolutely like her, so there's that too. But what do you guys think? And are you pulling for her or saving for someone else? Let me know down in the comments below. And that's pretty much it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye for now. John it.